Personally, I'm a big sound fan.
Sound is really part of the championship DNA.
V12, it's magic. You will still have it magic on the track.
In your ears, you have these little receptacles. Once those are damaged by excessive noise, they will never recover again.
The loudest engines I ever drove.
Exhaust coming out the back of the car is going to be much quieter than exhaust coming out the side of the car.
I would say, in many ways, an unnecessary loud engine.
You don't need to have the noise level high to enjoy the noise. It's more the tone and the characteristics.
If this is necessary to keep the sport alive, the quality of the sound is fantastic in that car. There's no denying it. We're here today to talk about the sounds in the World Endurance Championship.
Personally, I'm a big sound fan, and when I was younger, I used to go to races, and to hear the noise of the cars and the quality of the sound, it was unbelievable. It was something that I'll always remember.
I do like sound. I remember back in the day going to Formula One when they had the V10 engines, and you were getting already the shivers when you were arriving on the track, and it was like pumping the adrenaline. It's one thing to have a loud sounding engine, but it's another thing for it to also sound beautiful. It's nice to have the deeper sounding V8s. It's nice to have, in the past we've had the diesel engines which are whistle past, but of course it's amazing to have the sweet high pitch of a V12.
People want to hear these cars as well as see them.
We're lucky in this series to have an array of different sounds with lots of different engine technologies, but there is a responsibility to keep the sound not so loud, but just right.
Sound is really part of the championship DNA. What matters to us is more the diversity of the sound rather than the volume of the racing cars. We have to think about all the people who are around the race course. The races are between 6 hours to 24 hours. They are spending the whole day around the race course. So we feel it was very important to have a slightly lower volume, slightly reducing the noise. It allowed to have the fans staying longer, in better condition, in the grandstand, around the race course, and enjoying more the event itself and have a better global fan experience.
I'm joined with Fabrice and Keith to talk about how we control the volume. When you hear the sounds coming from the engines, why do we really want to reduce the sound? Why do we want to reduce the overall noise level, and how is it achieved?
We need to be socially aware of the surroundings of the track. People live close by, they don't want to be disturbed too often, so we need to be for that, but also for the health of the people working within the pit lane, the marshals, the spectators. In your ears, you have these little receptacles, and once those are damaged by excessive noise, they will never recover again.
I guess I'm a good case study as a driver, ex-driver myself, and now suffering with tinnitus in both ears from karting all the way through some categories where you didn't even wear earplugs to drive these things. And yes, it sounds great, but like I say, there are limits. You want the noise, but you want to kind of cap it, I guess, to stop the implications for your health.
You don't need to have the noise level high to enjoy the noise. It's more the tone and the characteristics of the sound of the engine that we feel makes it enjoyable, not the sound level itself.
I guess a good engine to listen to for that reason is the Aston Martin V12, the Valkyrie. It sounds beautiful. It's not as loud as some of the engines I've driven in the past in my career. So take a V10 normally aspirated F1 engine, for example. They were the loudest engines I ever drove. But the quality of the sound is fantastic in that car. There's no denying it.
That's important to say that we keep the characteristic from a car. I mean, as you said, a V12, it's magic. You will still have it magic on the track. We are just trying to minimize the impact that it can have on the people.
How do we control the decibels, Fabrice, of these beautiful cars and engines that we hear today?
We have sensors on the track to measure the sound level from a car. And each manufacturer is managing this exhaust to reduce the level.
We have the LMGT3 car here behind us. and we've heard the sounds this year reduced. How do you go about reducing the sound of these cars? What are the steps that a manufacturer has to take?
We define what level we want them to work to, and we mandate that in the regulations. And then I guess the onus is primarily on them to try and achieve that, given the size of the muffler and stuff like that. But we can also work with them by dictating where the exits of the exhaust is, for example. Exhaust coming out the back of the car is going to be much quieter than an exhaust coming out the side of the car, for example. So primarily it's with the teams and the manufacturers to achieve the level that we dictate.
We have a tender out as far as I'm aware with LMP2. I've driven them before, the current LMP2 cars. They are very noisy. From inside the cockpit at least, I would say in many ways an unnecessary loud engine. It is very extreme. There's going to be a difference of car and engine, and therefore a different sound level.
We have a new generation of LMP2 coming in 2028. We set basically a noise level which is going to be aligned with what we have today on the field with our GT cars. This is also a category where we mandate turbo engines, which are well known to be not so loud. So it's going to help you and the drivers to be a bit more comfortable in the cars.
Speaking of the turbocharged engines that we see a lot in the World Endurance Championship, why does a turbo make an engine quieter?
You've got to bear in mind that normally a turbocharged engine is going to be a smaller engine than a non-turbocharged engine of the equivalent power output. That's part of the reason.
So that's LMP2 and LMGT3 covered off. They're going to be at the same level. That just leaves Hypercar, which still, to my ears at least, sounds a little bit louder.
And you're correct in that. We do allow a slightly higher sound level from the Hypercars at the moment. This is due to when the regulations were written, the complexities of the car itself, packaging-wise. Yeah, well, you know, these cars are a lot tighter packaged than maybe the GT3 and what have you. So getting exhaust mufflers in there is quite complex.
Motorsport is going through many changes over the years in order to make sure that we can preserve the sport, we can keep racing. And of course, every new change which is introduced to motorsport, there is always a reaction. I'm sure that the noise restriction is there to help everyone working, including ourselves, the drivers, the marshals. If this is necessary to keep the sport alive, I think people quickly will not pay attention anymore to the noise as long as the show on track is nice. I take with a positive note this change.
I've been lucky enough as a driver to have driven a multitude of different engines and power units in my time, ranging from a V12 turbocharged diesel all the way through to a V8 normally aspirated hybrid. And each engine has their unique personality, and we still have that today in the World Endurance Championship. It's great to stand at the side of the track and listen to them all come blasting past with their own tune. But we do have to have a responsibility, don't we? Surely, and that's what we've heard today, to cap the absolute peak, that responsibility with people's health in mind in this modern day of racing. But the most important message that I take away from it today is that pure sound of the WEC will still remain. If you want to hear more of this kind of content, feel free to look at the FIA YouTube channel and obviously look at their social media content as well.